Howdy, howdy.
Howdy.
And welcome to But It Was Aliens, the extraterrestrial comedy podcast where we look at alien visits or perhaps things that aliens left behind to determine for our listeners whether it really was aliens or whether someone is playing silly buggers. I'm your host for today's probe, Kevin the Grey, and with me is today's co-host, Granville Moonwalker. This is the 29th file I think we've examined, although it may be our 30th episode. We're getting old.
Speak for yourself.
You're getting old.
I'm Benjamin Button up in this bitch. I'm getting young.
Before we get started, full disclosure, today's file is going to get a little strange.
Opposed to normally?
Okay, fair comment. Today is more a set of theories than a series of events, so to speak. Our probe is going to get particularly deep and, of course, into unfamiliar territory, and even into some more fantasy-related themes. It was aliens, of course, but I'm just preparing you for this ride. So this wonderful planet is home to many, many relics from the distant pages of history. You know of Stonehenge, right?
Yep. Built by giants.
Shit. Right, that's today's file. God damn it. Other than being built by giants, what do you know about Stonehenge?
Some people think it's built by aliens.
Mm-hmm.
I'm obviously on the side of giants. Go Giants!
That's the limit of your knowledge, yeah? just testing before I get into it.
It is more, but I've been drinking. So, as to not come off like a complete twat, I'm just going to let you go ahead.
How much have you had to drink?
Enough that my memory is a tiny bit hazy.
And you believe in giants?
Don't you?
Oh, God, yeah.
And what are you bitching for?
I ain't bitching.
Bitch.
He's a bitch.
Quit your bitching, bitch.
Shut up, bitch.
You're not with the pro, bitch.
Stonehenge.
Yeah, bitch.
It's very passionate about Stonehenge. Stonehenge is a large stone structure in Wiltshire, England. The stones include an altar stone in the ground, which came from somewhere different than all the rest, and a slaughter stone which collects and turns rainwater red. Stonehenge was owned privately until 1918, when Cecil Chubb, Mr. Chubb, gave it to the nation. Studies have indicated...
Good old chub.
That he's a good old chub. Studies have also indicated the structure of monoliths, or massive rocks, was built approximately 5,000 years ago. The stones have been carbon dated to 2,500 to 3,000 BC, or BCE, whatever they're teaching now. But we don't definitively know who, by, or why. Until now. So do you have any theories on Stonehenge, or any points other than giants, before we begin probing?
I do know that the main stones that everyone sees aren't just the only ones there. Mm-hmm. They also include the small ones that are like steps in the ground.
We might get into that. We might not, but we might.
So Cecil Chubb, good old Chubster, he gave the stones to the nation.
Yep.
Can we sell it? Can we barter?
Well, if we own it, arguably, why can't we sell it? Right, if you're interested in buying Stonehenge,
what would you say?
You can contact us on the Twitter @ButItWasAliens. Let us know what you're willing to pay.
If you could trade it for another monument or wonder of the world, what would you trade it for?
I like that question. What would I trade? Great Pyramid.
Yep, same. That's exactly where I went.
Yeah.
Or for a Sphinx.
I'd still take the pyramid personally, but I'll hear the argument. One of the more popular theories on how and why Stonehenge was built is that ancient civilizations were given technologies and religions by ancient astronauts, aka aliens.
Multiple religions?
Yes. In his 1968 book, Chariots of the Gods, Unsolved Mysteries of the Past, Eric von Daniken alleged, truthfully, that Stonehenge was built or at least planned by ancient visiting aliens.
Can I just say here that to someone back then, a giant would be an alien.
Who's to say giants aren't aliens?
So, it was giants.
You've already made your mind up with 6 minutes, if that, in.
Thing is, you have to convince me otherwise in this one. That's your task.
Oh, I can go home. We're there. Job done. Easiest probe yet. So, visiting aliens. This theory suggests that Stonehenge was built as a form of communication and that one day the aliens will return. The stone structure has obviously perished somewhat now, but back in the day, with all the stones on top of stones, this site could actually have been a functioning landing pad for alien craft. Further strengthening the claim of alien activity in the area, Salisbury, and in particular Stonehenge, continues to experience alien activity to this day. In 1954, a column of light was captured rising from one of the stones. Glowing UFOs have also been seen around the site at a somewhat regular degree. Meanwhile, Wiltshire is a hot bed for crop circles. So it's probably aliens, right?
So, you mentioned that to this day, Stonehenge continues to experience alien activity.
Yep.
We're not in 1954.
So?
You said to this day.
Yeah.
In 1954.
It's coming. It's coming. Patience, mon
So,
frere.
an alien landing pad.
Imagine what shape the craft must be to land. Well, I suppose there could be big panels that are now missing that were sitting on top.
Yeah, I was about to say, when you look at Stonehenge, it's incomplete now. Or
it's perished somewhat.
How would you communicate with stones?
I've got no shitting idea. I'm not an alien. But maybe it's to do with bong, like a pitchfork.
I was about to say, like
Bong.
a frequency
Yeah.
thing.
But we might come back to that in a bit.
Or
Or
ocarina.
an ocarina. Do 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 do. So before I move on to another theory on Stonehenge, just elaborating on that idea that Stonehenge continues to be visited, check out this photo, which is one of many taken in 2009 and which was subsequently reported to British military. Not just the media, military. Lots of people visiting in January 2009 took photos, but at the time everyone was focused on the stones. It was only later, in uploading the photos to their computers and not using Photoshop, that people noticed the floating disc or flying saucer in the background. The military, however, has a public policy to only investigate definite threats to the UK. Compelling, right?
That's a bird.
That is not a bird. It's a plane. It's not a plane. No. Close your mouth and open your mind. Mufasa.
No, that does look like the shape of what we would know to be a UFO.
And I know I made it sound like it's not, but it is actually a legit photo.
Not only that, the fact that the military only have a policy to investigate definite threats.
Yeah.
So that means they are aware of UFOs flying around. Unless it becomes a threat, they're not going to react.
Yeah. I think you're right.
But do they have a loophole here?
Who are you pointing at?
I'm just pointing in general. Because they're not going to investigate a UFO.
Mm-hmm.
But if they know what the ship is, it's not unidentified to them.
Mm.
Therefore, it's not a UFO.
Loopy McHole coming together. I think
Loopy McLoopholes.
I actually probed this case before the recent unidentified aerial phenomena came to light. So are we seeing UAPs here that the government are aware of but have only just admitted to being as such?
Quite possible.
Yeah.
Quite possible. I don't want to say on board.
You're on board.
If I was on a fence
Mm-hmm.
and I had to jump either side of that fence
Yeah. If you were Humpty Dumpty.
right now, I'm in midair.
Okay.
I could fall either way.
Wow. Let me talk you back.
Body weight suggests one side at the moment.
Okay. So another idea is that Stonehenge is the world's first computer. Stonehenge is believed by many to be capable of astronomical predictions.
Sorry, how?
Well, let me frickin' finish.
Does it work with, like, the sun and the stars?
Sort of, yeah. So many of the stones do appear to be placed in accordance with with
Whiz kid.
with cosmological events, which would suggest that the device could be a massive analog computer used to work out dates or seasons. Animal bones have been carbon dated from the site and suggest that pigs were slaughtered between December and January every year, suggesting animal sacrifice rituals. There's been a lot of scientific study around the stones lining up with sunrise and sunset during the winter solstice, so I won't probe deep on that. We're looking for the truth, and the only truth here would be that the animal sacrifices weren't to thank gods, but to thank aliens. So?
We know that Vikings used to slaughter creatures as part of rituals.
Mm-hmm.
What's to say they didn't use Stonehenge, and that's why the blood and bones are there? Not the blood and bones.
Because the Vikings were around, well, certainly the ADs, but they travelled into England 650 AD, 708 AD, up through the 900s, and then we were kind of getting peaceful after that. We're talking about 5000 BC here. Ain't no Vikings, yo.
But were the bones dated back to that time?
Yes.
You don't know, do you? You just know that there's bones there.
Right, so earlier...
Vikings!
Sacrificing to aliens, I'll let you have that.
Number 4.
Thor was an alien, yes, correct. Valiant. So
That's who they prayed to.
earlier we mentioned communication. One idea suggests that Stonehenge was an ancient sound studio. Experiments have indicated that Stonehenge produces an effect whereby sound waves cancel each other out, creating a dampening effect. It suggested that this effect was utilised for either festivals or ceremonies. Furthermore, when whacked, the stones produce a sound like a wooden bell, with each stone making a different pitch. Perhaps it was used to communicate across the land, or to the aliens we mentioned earlier. Only when these rocks are banged in the right way will the aliens return. That is looking unlikely when it's all on the floor and we can't get it up.
So what do they use to bang these stones with?
A pitchfork.
How big is the pitchfork?
Big.
Because depending on the size of it will depend on the sound
They
waves.
experimented with several different things, I think, in fairness. But they, like I said, they found it all makes different.
It kind of would, though.
Look.
Because the shape and sizes are all different. So wind and sound is going to travel through each one in a different manner. Do you know if anyone has recreated Stonehenge in a kind of smaller model
Yes.
and tried to replicate, well, not replicate, but see what happens?
Yes.
It's pretty cool.
Right. So if aliens don't take your fancy, there is a more legendary theory out there. And that is of Merlin himself, my distant relative who served King Arthur between the 5th and 6th century. This theory was actually put forward around the 1100s by British cleric and historiographer Geoffrey of Monmouth. Breaking down this theory to find the truth, what had actually happened was that a giant had brought large stones from Africa, fucking giants, yo, to Ireland due to their healing properties. King Aurelius wanted to build a battle monument for nobles killed by his enemies, and Merlin suggested that the healing stones were used. How would you transport such large heavy stones from Ireland to Wiltshire? Merlin's beard. Well, his magic, more specifically. Merlin, after watching the army fail using their own equipment, helped the army to transport the stones and arrange them. This theory is actually supported in that not only would it be fucking hard to move 4-ton stones 200 miles without magic, but the bones possibly relating to 600 bodies have been found near the site. These bones have suggested illness, deformity and breaks. Therefore, isn't it possible that people visited Stonehenge to heal, and not that they broke their backs trying to move the stones? Just to add, this Merlin theory was among the most popular theories out there at one point.
Broken bones to move stones. I made a rhyme.
Well done.
Depending on the bones that broke would depend on if they were broken trying to move stones in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a record of what bones were
All
found
sorts,
broken?
genuinely this time, all sorts.
Okay.
So it's almost like people were going there to try and heal ailments.
Could be both.
Or they were sacrificed there.
Is there any record of...
Giants?
I was about to say the healing stones succeeding.
Not unless there was another 600 bodies that got up and walked away after being healed.
No, but sometimes...
But it's Merlin, though. Come on.
Meh.
Merlin!
I can't think of a, depiction of Merlin that I've seen that I've enjoyed.
Yeah, but Merlin, though. Merlin.
Merlin.
Right,
No Voldemort, is he? Now, if you would have said Voldemort, I would be fully on board.
So you think Voldemort is real again?
You keep going to think like it's not. You think it's real. No, Kev. He's real.
Linking on to the idea that the stones originally... What the hell was that?
Nothing.
Linking on to the idea that the stones originally came from giants, another theory suggests that the site was built by the Nephilim, the children of angels and early humankind, before they were wiped out in the Great Flood whilst Noah survived. There is actually a 12th century illustration that shows a giant helping Merlin build Stonehenge. I'll admit this one is a long shot, but is the oldest documented evidence of Stonehenge's origin, taken from a medieval history text. Check out this image.
Before I do, don't the Nephilim have wings?
Not necessarily. Have you ever met a Nephilim?
No, but in films I've seen which
Films.
Nephilim. But then how...
I can see why your theories on Voldemort are taking form.
Voldemort's a Don. But no, I have never met a Nephilim. But from what I have seen in documented factual films, Nephilim are depicted with wings. But I suppose if they don't have wings, then yes, they could be wiped out by a flood. But if they do, couldn't they just fly away?
I'd argue that there are also films where Nephilim are documented without wings as well.
You can argue it, don't mean I believe it.
Well, we're already going for aliens and giants, so...
But also, it's a bit shitty on God's part to get... Well, I wouldn't say God's. A bit shitty on the parts of the angels to have their kids go and help and then... there's a flood coming. Fend for yourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright, so you're going to check out this bloody picture?
Yes, I'm now about to... What?
Yep.
So, that, to me... So the old guy on his knees...
Mm-hmm.
Right, so before I say that... This is a picture which depicts a potential giant...
You say potential, but bearing in mind this is
building.
Stonehenge in the picture, and his head is the height of the top pillar of the stones.
Yes. But what I'm about to say is that in front of him... So he's putting a pillar on top of a couple of stones. Quite casually by the looks of things.
Yep.
In front of him, is that a man?
Yep.
So that's a full-grown man.
I believe that is Merlin in the middle.
Oh, okay. Fine.
And then it's another Nephilim on his knees behind him.
I was about to say, is the one behind him with the beard Merlin? Because if it is, that's a child in the middle. And they are just two normal humans. However,
14-foot humans.
if that is Merlin in the middle, these two are giants,
Yep.
and that is Merlin.
So yes, that is Merlin in the picture. Son, I have an important question for you. Is the Big Show a Nephilim?
Would that also make Andre the Giant a Nephilim?
Yes.
Yes.
They don't have wings.
Ah, you bitch. How do we know?
That I don't have wings? How many times have you seen Big Show with his shirt off?
Have you seen
Yes.
Dogma?
Yes, actually.
Have you seen Lucifer?
The TV series?
Yep.
Yes.
Hide their wings pretty well, don't they?
So you're saying the Big Show has wings?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, it's the Big Show.
I want to do that as soon as I said Big Show. But Merlin. Merlin was a wizard featuring in much Welsh poetry and based on Mrydyn Wilt,
I want to stop you just there.
or Merlin of the Wild.
Sorry. So if big, tall, I want to say big, tall, but massive people like Andre the Giant, stuff like that. Is it Michael Clark Duncan?
Green Mile Man.
Yes.
Mhm.
In the Green Mile, he healed people, like, I wouldn't say with his touch,
Yeah,
but
with his mind bullets. Yeah.
he had a way of healing people.
Mhm.
Was he essentially playing himself a Nephilim?
I couldn't argue against it for fear of shooting my investigation in the foot.
Rest in peace, big guy.
Indeed. So Merlin of the Wild, the real historical figure, was a prophet and mad man.
All the best ones are.
Merlin, see, you do think Merlin's good. Merlin was driven mad by
Voldemort.
a war and went to live in a forest with the animals. Legend has it that Merlin was fathered by an incubus, the male version of a succubus, and was destined to be the Antichrist, but he was baptized at birth, freeing him from this destiny. He prophesied that in days when 1 in 4 people died of famine, help would one day come from above. I put it to you that Merlin was a half alien fathered by an alien who built Stonehenge to communicate with his family of aliens. Look at him in that picture with the giant. His fingers are longer than the giant's, and Merlin's half the size of him. That man is an alien.
Terrible artistry.
Merlin.
There's no Voldemort.
Okay, I'm going to move on.
So, oh, whoa.
God damn it.
Don't you just move on that swiftly.
But I don't want you to counter-argue. Should I move on then?
Go for it.
So when you look at Stonehenge,
I just wanted to put you off.
doesn't it remind you of the female sex organ?
The nipple?
Not that one.
I mean, have you... Huh.
Well, it does to many people out there apparently when viewed from above. This is suggested not to be an accident because Stonehenge is an ancient sex and fertility symbol, representing the opening by which the Earth Mother gave birth to all the plants and animals the ancient people depended upon. Let's just check out a reconstructed image of what Stonehenge probably looked like before bits went missing. Mooney, if you'd like to check this photo out.
Does not look like a vagina. At all.
Doesn't at all, does it?
If anything, it
This
looks
is-
like a butthole.
This is quite a popular theory as well. One of the leading theories.
How
Because the people are kinky.
can the people that theorise this, have they seen a vagina?
Potentially not by the looks of that picture and the theory.
Yeah. That does not look like a vagina.
So the vagina theory was probably a bit of a stretch. Excuse the pun. If you don't agree with any of the theories we've gone over so far, I have a further 2 about Stonehenge's function. One is that Stonehenge is a portal between worlds. No less than 14 ley lines converge to where Stonehenge stands, creating a powerful vortex. Ley lines carry supernatural energy across latitudinal and longitudinal lines across the globe, and many structures are built along them. Many visitors to Stonehenge say that they can simply feel power in the air. There's a little more meat to this theory than you may think. In August 1971, a group of people were visiting the ancient site at 2 a.m. when the unexpected formation of a vicious storm begun directly overhead. 2 witnesses nearby, a policeman and a farmer, saw lightning bolts blast the stones, lighting up the entire area in a strange blue light. The group could be heard screaming in agony as the lightning blasted the site and police came to check, running over expecting the group to be severely burned. Not a single person was left at the site. Only their belongings remained. The group had inexplicably vanished. These were known as the disappearing hippies of Stonehenge. Did the lightning activate the portal for the last time?
Why are they automatically hippies?
Because they were hippies.
Was this reported, like,
Yep.
in the news and
Yep.
stuff like that?
Yes,
Their
it
stuff was just
Yep.
left there.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Alien Merlin.
How long,
Were Merlin's fingers?
no, would it take us to get to Stonehenge from here?
3 to 4 hours, I think,
We should go one day.
each way,
Yeah, I think we should take the trip.
and take photos.
But it was aliens on tour,
We may delve into the portal idea more when we cover Stargates. A final theory for you today is that the formation is a former holy burial site. To be honest, whilst this kind of links in with the Battle Monument Merlin theory, the bodies found in the area haven't always been directly on Stonehenge per se, so it makes this one seem a little less likely. So we should probably go with aliens, or Merlin. Merlin. Basically, bone fragments from cremated remains amount to about 63 people, and they are dated to about the time Stonehenge was created. So Stonehenge could have been created in part as a monument or burial for this group.
Is there any,
Merlin?
I was going to say, documentation
Of Merlin.
of
Merlin.
the people that the
Worshipped Merlin.
monument was built for?
Negative.
I'm not going with Merlin. Although I want to go with giants.
Giants came from Merlin, though.
No, they didn't.
They did. That's the story.
I think they came to help someone called Merle. And
Mirrored.
people just were like, it's Merlin. No, it's Merle.
Hey, Merle.
Hey, Merle.
Stonehenge was ultimately abandoned. In 1159 BC, an Icelandic volcano erupted, which could have blocked out the sun, limiting growing season. Meanwhile, metal replaced stone as the primary working resource about 1000 BC, but people continued to visit the site, which suggests continuing significance.
Why was it abandoned?
Aliens and Merlin.
But that's why it was built. Apparently. Allegedly.
It's a mystery.
It is.
More conventional theories of how the stones were moved have been put forward. There was a construction worker from Michigan in America called Wally Wallington, and yes, that is his real name, who demonstrated that it is indeed possible to move monoliths with ancient technology. Wally put loads of round stones on the floor and by himself was able to push giant blocks using nothing more than the stones, grooved planks to slide the stones over, levers and counterweights. Wally could walk a block at 300 feet per hour. There are plenty of videos of Wally out there, and if he can move heavy blocks by himself, it does suggest groups of hundreds of people with more than 1,000 years may be able to push blocks the 200 miles possibly required from Wales to Wiltshire. At a similar site in Scotland, a research team did find old stone balls and suggested that the methods used by Wally may well be accurate. The team added that oxen may have been used, which would mean that the stones could be transferred 10 miles per day, making the trip possible in about 2 weeks.
I've seen something like this for similar big structures in the past. I can't remember if it was a bridge or something that was being built, and people were saying it was aliens, but they showed just using, I wouldn't say your initiative, but
Merlin.
Like being quite
Merlin-y.
innovative, they were able to move big pieces of stone and marble with ease. So, was it Merlin?
Definitely.
No.
Well, you just asked me, and I said yes, so yes.
I didn't. I was saying it rhetorically to myself.
Then why did you answer?
Because I asked myself.
That's rhetoric, then it's not rhetoric if you answer.
Shut up.
Merlin. Was it Merlin? No. But is such a thing even possible? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was done by men, and like you said, with
Merlin.
like that. But I also like to believe that these men were 9 to 10 feet tall and were called giants.
Friends of Merlin.
And they hated Merlin.
So study of the site suggests that it took approximately 1,500 years to build. Most experts agree that the blue stones were quarried from the Presley Hills in Wales, which, as I said, is around 150 to 200 miles away. Meanwhile, the sarsen stones were most likely to have come from Marlborough Downs, which is at least in Wiltshire. Before we close, I'd just like to mention that the stones of Stonehenge were most likely nicked from other sites. Stonehenge Cursus, for example, is very near to Stonehenge in Wiltshire, and it's basically a site where stones used to be. The site has been carbon dated to between 3630 and 3375 BC, so it's older than Stonehenge. Those Bronze Age bastards basically either were given the blue stones to signal an alliance between neighbouring groups, or they stole the stones and displayed them as a sign that they conquered their neighbours.
I would say they were probably given as a gift, or they just decided that they wanted to move them somewhere else, because it's not as if you can just walk up and steal those stones without anyone
you've got to
knowing.
remember, humans are dicks. I'm not saying they stole them. They could have been two warring tribes. One tribe won. We're taking their greatest asset, rolled them over to their site.
Yeah. So they acquired through war.
Possibly. Any thoughts on that before I move on?
No.
So we're in agreement it's Merlin. Right, to summarise here.
Voldemort.
Stonehenge. Hold on. If I agree that Merlin could be Voldemort,
then no, I am not agreeing that Voldemort could be Merlin.
right, so Stonehenge was either built by aliens to communicate with aliens, it's a sound studio to communicate probably with aliens, it was aliens, it was created by Merlin, who's an alien, it was made by giants who possibly worked with Merlin, who's an alien, it's a computer calendar made to mark dates when aliens need to be thanked or when Merlin will return, it's a giant vagina, still built by Merlin, it's a burial site, possibly for Merlin and his harem, or it's a portal to an alien world which is now inhabited by a group of hippies worshipping Merlin. Which one are you going for?
I'm going for giants that dislike Merlin.
Well, that wasn't an option.
Nah. The alien landing pad is quite a good theory. And so is giants. But I just think it was done by men. The thing is, something that was done that long ago and without like documentation or record is gonna leave it's gonna be so open to interpretation and theory that it could be anything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to let you in on a little secret which I know about Stonehenge.
It's built by Merlin. Go on.
I did it.
I thought you looked like you were hunched.
I was one of those giants.
I've always wondered why your legs are tucked behind your head.
Hey.
You ever seen that Simpsons sketch with the tall man, the very tall man, where he's like in a car and his knees are up by his head?
No.
Yeah, that's how you record this podcast. Okay, so are you saying that it was aliens?
No. I'm saying it was me.
Merlin.
No. I'm saying this is man-made. It's not aliens. Unfortunately. I'd love it to be. That would be amazing. Like an alien portal.
Yeah.
I wonder if you, on a specific night, you could sit in the middle of it and like look around and you see different constellations or star patterns through the gaps of each.
Yeah.
And obviously above you. That would be pretty insane.
Okay, well, I'm not saying that it was aliens either. I'm saying that it was built by man, and I've already proved that Merlin was an actual man. But yeah, there wasn't actually... You know when you look at an old topic and you've always heard that like people theorise aliens are involved?
Couldn't find anything on
There
it.
wasn't actually as much information out there about Stonehenge being made by aliens as I expected. Turns out civilization is a little bit brighter than us trained in the ways of MIBism are led to believe. I mean, it's obviously Merlin, but the most literature out there, other than Merlin, tended to be on the idea of Stonehenge being a Stargate, which I didn't want to get too deep on, as I know we're planning to cover that down the line. Any final Merlin thoughts?
No. I mean, we all know it's Voldemort. He's a Don.
Mm-hmm.
I really dislike Merlin, but I don't know why.
It might be because I sold him so hard.
No, I mean before that though.
Yeah.
I don't know what...
He's a
It's just-
wizard,
He is,
and you're not a
but
fan.
he's an old grey-haired man that takes boys into the forest,
Whoa! Where'd you get that from?
trains them
No,
in the
no, he does
art
not.
of wizardry
He does not do that. He was a one-off advisor.
to...
Aurelius, was it? And then to
How
King
old was
Arthur
he?
from there. He was very old, older than Merlin. And then King Arthur came along, who was younger than Merlin.
Yeah, he was.
He never touched him.
Bided his time.
I think it's just because you like Voldemort. Voldemort's a bad wizard. Merlin's a good wizard.
Don't you speak ill.
Right, probers. Thank you for listening today. It's been a little bit of a change this week. Let us know what you think. We're on the Twitter at But It Was Aliens. We're on Instagram at But It Was Aliens Podcast. You can find us on Facebook, either at But It Was Aliens, or you can search for our group Extraterrestrial Towers, where we might start talking about Merlin, because Granville loves Merlin. I've been Kevin the Grey. He still is Granville Moonwalker.
Yup.
You've been listening to But It Was Aliens. Will be heard by you next week. Oh, and if in doubt,
Hash.
tag.
Pro.
Just look at Moans.
So,
With a girl in the forest, I might add.
so you knew of the stories about him and little boys, and you decided
Little-
to chuck
Old enough
The,
girls.
him with a girl in there to try and disprove it.
Right, I'm pressing stop on this recording now before you get Merlin in trouble.